The first thing that we're going to look at is probably a really common sense approach, but it has got to be said. Disabled people actually do have brains, and it is all about the level of customer service that you give a disabled person that causes them to come back or to never come near your business ever again. Good customer service is essential for any business, and it is how you treat people that is the most important thing. We are, of course, going to be discussing the needs of a disabled person in more depth later on, but the most obvious idea we need to explore in this presentation is that just because someone has the inability to do something, be it unable to climb stairs, unable to communicate through speech, or even being unable to see you, it does not mean that they are less of a person, and it doesn't mean that they need to be considered as a problem that needs to be solved. The problem lies in the fact that when it comes to a disabled person coming and accessing your business, the whole process doesn't happen easily. Let me give you a quick example of this. Our CEO has a physical disability and has had this disability since birth, but it wasn't diagnosed until she was 21. She has lived all of her childhood and into adulthood having an impairment, something that was holding her back, but didn't know what it was until it was diagnosed as a neuromuscular condition at the age of 21. When she was diagnosed, life was fine. The condition didn't really affect her massively. It has been over 15 years since diagnosis. Now when she walks, she uses specially adapted leg braces or splints and has had to start using a wheelchair over any distance or when standing for periods of time. So when she goes out shopping and she knows she's going to be out for a while and takes her chair. One experience of a shopping trip she had was when she visited a very famous department store. It is a famous brand with branches all across the UK, and she bought a top, a lady's blouse. It was obviously for her as opposed to her husband who was with her at the time. She was in her power chair and her husband was standing right next to her, and throughout the entire time of actually purchasing the top, she was treated like a second-class citizen. Never mind that she is a group CEO who manages numerous staff and million-pound contracts, as well as holding a postgraduate qualification, the sales assistant assumed she was in some way incapable of taking part in the transaction. She was ignored completely. The sales assistant directed the entire process towards her husband, spoke only to him, treated him as the customer, and she might as well have been invisible. To make the situation worse, she could not even reach the payment terminal because the desk was so high. If she had walked in using her leg braces, she would have been treated like an able-bodied person and the experience would have been very different. And that is the stark reality of the lack of customer service disabled people experience. Changing this comes down to a common sense approach, which is what we are going to cover in the next 9 topics.